Hey, what's up, boys? So today we're going to be looking at a video titled "Embarrassingly Dumb Ways People Have Died." Um, Not much to say there. It's just a self-explanatory video, so we're going to get into it.
We'd all like to be remembered for something great, but surprisingly often, incredibly dumb folks leave this world with a parting tale they'd probably prefer to be forgotten. That said, some of these spectacularly dim-witted accidental exit strategies are irresistibly entertaining to hear about. So without further ado, let's check out some of the most embarrassingly dumb ways people died. Labels? What labels? Whenever blowtorches fall into the hands of the less than brightest members of our species, it's always best to take a few steps back.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust a person like that with a
By which I mean,
blowtorch.
move to the next country over. If this piece of common sense wasn't already obvious, a man from Topeka, Kansas certainly made it clear in June 2019. When he stumbled upon what appeared to be an empty metal drum, the inquisitive fellow thought best to cut the thing open with a blowtorch. What he was hoping to use the divided drum for is anyone's guess, as it exploded violently before the fellow got the chance to finish his task.
Just some people have a lot of time on their hands. You just walk around and you see a empty can and you think, you know what, I'm going to take it and cut it open with a blowtorch.
Apparently, he'd ignored the bold warnings that the drum contained methanol, a highly volatile compound. For people like this, instructions to keep away from naked flame must sound like a challenge. The only reward, of course, is a Darwin Award for removing yourself from the gene pool. Whether he read the labels or not, this guy's overeager blowtorch trigger finger cost him his life. Disney's other Dumbo. In Disney's Beauty and the Beast, Gaston is an incredibly arrogant character with an endless supply of misplaced self-confidence. So perhaps the man who played the role of Gaston at Disney World Orlando was still in character when he brought about his own explosive demise in 2015. It would seem so because he clearly placed too much confidence in the strength of his own skull when he launched a firework from atop his head. He'd been drinking and joking around with the idea when the firework accidentally caught alight. Within seconds, the mortar tube exploded in a colorful, fiery explosion that no amount of beer could take the edge off. Needless to say, Disney World had to find a new Gaston, but hopefully the new one was less of a method actor. Stay in your lane. Riding in a bicycle lane can be dangerous enough sometimes, but riding a bicycle on a highway? For most people, this obvious no-no should speak for itself. But one man in September 2019 was clearly different from most people, as he decided to take a late-night bike ride along the 405 freeway in Long Beach, California. He trundled along in the auxiliary lane, which is designed.
Let's all take a guess. What happened? In the comments. You don't even need to comment because
Designed to allow drivers to speed up or slow down on the 60-mile-per-hour highway in the dark, unaware of the danger. Unsurprisingly, a driver using the auxiliary lane, not expecting to see a cyclist, plowed into the bicycle at full speed, unable to stop. The cyclist was killed, and the driver was traumatized by.
Now, the guy's car is fucked up. He was just probably just trying to get home. Like, some things, it's not even common sense. Sometimes we just do things because of impulse, right? We just go out and we try things that aren't really the smartest things in the world, but because we feel like it in the moment, we end up doing it, and sometimes it costs us our lives, as we see here.
An accident that should never have happened. So, unless you're a superhuman who can ride their bicycle at 60 miles per hour and over, leave the highways to the motorists. Boredom cure. When you're prone to outrageously bad decisions, tempting fate is about twice as dumb as it is for regular people. That didn't stop a Brazilian student, though, whose Facebook bio proudly proclaimed the infinitely wise proverb, "Better to die from vodka than from boredom."
Ooh.
He put that adage to the test at a drinking contest in 2015 when he slammed 25 shots of vodka in less than 60 seconds. Shortly after sinking the final one, the student said he felt ill and collapsed. On the way to the hospital, he died of alcohol poisoning. Even over an hour, that many shots could have been potentially deadly. But in a minute? Forget about it. It's fair to say anyone who is cheering this guy on is just as dumb as he was.
Yeah.
Past your bedtime. We're often reminded of how important a good night's sleep is, and for good reason. But the impact of staying up too late went far beyond feeling groggy the next morning for one Chinese fellow in 2014. As a huge soccer fan, losing sleep during the World Cup due to the 11-hour time difference between host nation Brazil and his own was no biggie. But the stress, exhaustion, and excitement of watching soccer's greatest players go head-to-head non-stop for the 48-hour stretch he stayed awake for took its toll. His extreme exhaustion is thought to have triggered a brain hemorrhage, something research suggests sleep deprivation significantly increases the chances of. He died
I did not know that. So all of these people that stay without sleeping, they're at risk of a brain hemorrhage. I didn't know that.
shortly after the last match of the day when Costa Rica defeated Uruguay 3-1. Whether he was a fan of the losing side and took the loss particularly and fatally hard is unclear. But if my parents had told me I could die from staying up too late, I probably would have got more sleep as a teenager. Calamity Convoy. One night in April 2016, a truly bizarre convoy was seen chugging along a road in Louisiana. One man was driving a sit-down lawnmower, while another sat upon the hood, and a third sat in a wheelchair holding onto the back being pulled along. The trio was...
Yeah, see, this is the stuff I'm talking about. Like, you just go out and do things because you feel like it, and yeah, sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's just, it leads to like a lot of fun memories, you know. But sometimes you end up receiving a down, you know.
reportedly having the time of their lives on their ride along a busy road. That is, until a truck smashed into them from behind. As shocking as it seems, it turned out a darkened roadway wasn't the best place for a tag-along DIY joyride. Miraculously, the only person to die in the incident was the man behind the wheel of the lawnmower, who had seemingly instigated the ridiculous activity.
Oh, okay. I thought the guy in the truck died.
Hopefully his friends will keep their mowers firmly on the grass from now on. Shotgun wedding. It's not my place to criticize another culture's traditions, but a circle of dancing men haphazardly firing shotguns into the air doesn't seem like the smartest way to celebrate a wedding. Unfortunately, that was the method of choice for a group of Indian wedding attendees with a taste for celebratory gunfire in 2019. The first round of gunshots, fired dangerously closely over the dancers' heads, almost deafened several of them. But the next round, fired without any regard to things.
You see, here's the thing. Life gives you chances, right? Once something goes wrong once, that's a lesson. That's like life is literally telling you, get your shit together. Stop doing that. The fact that he almost deafened the other guys and then kept shooting like that is just bizarre to me. Like you do not have any type of awareness, bro. Like that's
like,
just crazy.
oh, I don't know, aiming resulted in one shotgun-wielding guest receiving a direct hit to the face. Unaware, the oblivious reveler continued to gleefully fire shots until he...
Yeah, he probably was drunk, because if now this is two shots, right? He shot once, deafened the guys there, right? The second one hit a person in the face. He still keeps shooting.
He was made aware of what he'd done. Needless to say, after he'd finally decided to look around him, the festivities were over. From now on, how about we stick to wedding bells rather than shotgun shells, eh? Premature detonation. Every master criminal has to start with the smaller jobs before the big bucks come along. That said, robbing a machine full of condoms for its contents and cash isn't exactly the usual mark of a criminal genius in the making. But on Christmas Day, 2015, a group of amateur German
What? Imagine your family being at your funeral because you died trying to steal a bunch of condoms.
thieves decided it was
crazy.
time to make headway in the crime game. They bundled some explosives into a condom dispenser and lit her up. But to their surprise, the explosion blasted chunks of the metal enclosure outwards with enough speed to become deadly projectiles. One of the rubber robbers was struck in the head and died shortly afterwards. The machine wasn't in a much better state either. I hate to state the obvious, but I really think that condom crazy criminal would have been okay if he'd just worn protection. Cold-blooded companions.
Hey, did you want to sell them like?
For
I'm
many
so
people, the
confused.
idea of having a snake in their house is nightmare fuel. For others, a snake is an ideal pet. For a woman living in Indiana in 2019, though, one snake wasn't enough. Her ideal number wasn't 2 or 3, it was 140. As an enthusiast and part-time
I had nightmares like this one. Like I literally woke up and like I audibly gasped when I like saw all of those snakes around me, and the fact that she's just doing that like 100. How do you even keep track of all of them? Because 40 is crazy. 140 is just like it's insane.
breeder, you'd think the 36-year-old would have had a solid understanding of the risks of living with reptiles that have the ability to kill you. But whether she let her guard down or just felt comfortable letting the creatures roam free, one fateful evening saw one of her snakes turn on its owner. The next day, the town sheriff was horrified to discover the reptile enthusiast held in a deadly embrace by one of her beloved pets, an 8-foot-long python. It had strangled her to death hours before, but was still wrapped around her neck, proving that when a python wants a hug, there are no half measures. Pythons just say no. Look, Ma, no hands. Of all the times to show off, doing so while cruising on a motorbike at 85 miles per hour is undoubtedly among the stupidest. That didn't stop one Russian motorbike blogger who fancied himself somewhat of a daredevil on his Harley Davidson in June 2019, though. He raced along using his feet to steer while filming with his hands, bragging about how his ability to not give a made these kinds of stunts possible. Mere
And he got it. Is this like the actual video? Now it looks too high quality. Now this looks like the actual video, and he didn't say if it was or it
bragging about
wasn't.
how
But getting it on video is even like salt to the wound. Now your family gets to watch you die of just
his ability to not give a made these kinds of stunts possible. Mere moments after sending the outrageously dangerous video on to a friend, the biker lost control and his Harley flipped dozens of times,
yeah. He got it on
smashing
video.
against the tarmac. The vehicle ended up only slightly less mangled than its rider did, but even the most skilled mechanics and doctors combined couldn't put the two back together. Texting and riding is dumb enough, but if you follow in this guy's footsteps, the only thing waiting down the road is a tarmac-covered Darwin Award. Heads up, bumping your head is one of the most rage-inducing minor pains a person can sustain. But even a direct smack into the hardest low-hanging shelf doesn't compare to what one daredevil with a taste for trains and trespassing went through in North Carolina in 2018. In an attempt to satisfy his adrenaline cravings, he climbed onto a train's roof and, as if it was a wild metal stallion, attempted to ride it. It went well initially. He'd been issued warnings previously for similar incidents, so he probably had his head around the balancing act train top cruising required. But his head ended up around something else when the train passed under a low-hanging.
I can already guess that his head was gone because trains are fast. For one part of your body to become stationary that quick, and then the other part of your body wants to keep moving, you either get decapitated or just knocked off.
Bridge. bridge. Apparently not seeing the bridge in time, he hit it at full speed. And it turns out, hitting solid objects at around 90 miles per hour isn't very good for the human body. 2 months later, his skull was found on the side of the
Yeah. He was like, he just had to be
railroad,
decapitated.
approximately 128 miles from where his body was found on the day of the accident. This led authorities to a grisly conclusion. He'd been quite literally decapitated the moment he hit the roof of the bridge, and his body had continued along its journey before eventually falling off the train. The conclusion is simple. Don't be a train cowboy. It's a real headache. Bad time for a stroll. Drive-through safari parks are a great way for anyone with a love for nature's wildest beasts to experience them up close safely. Well, it's safe just as long as you follow one simple rule. Stay inside your vehicle at all times. But on a summer's day in 2016 at Badaling Safari World in Beijing, that simple rule was broken in an act of overwhelming stupidity.
What? Was that the actual... Was that the actual video of him getting out of a car? A lion is literally... I wouldn't even dare go near my fucking car door. He's just casually opening it up. Bro, you are not Superman. Stop
After an
it,
argument
stop
broke
it. He can't, but...
out between a passenger and driver of a car driving through the tiger enclosure, the passenger stormed out of the car in frustration. Bad move. Within seconds, a tiger leapt over and snatched her off in its jaws. But while this was indeed a...
Yo, that was the actual video. Just
mind-numbingly stupid decision, the response of the other occupants of the car is what proved deadly. Despite the fact that park officials were already merely feet away on their rescue mission, one passenger decided she'd be able to overpower the tiger herself. So she got out, ran over, and was immediately killed by one of nature's most efficient murder machines.
it literally is made for killing, and you're made to be chill and just use your brain, which evidently you didn't. Like, call someone. You're not going to be able, unless you have a gun or something. Don't run towards a literal killing machine. It was engineered for that. And
ironically, the person she'd aimed to save survived, and if she'd only waited a second for the highly trained park officials to take over, she could have too. It shouldn't need to be said, but if you're going to fight a tiger unarmed, you're going to lose. Together forever. Of all the ways to go, passing away while doing the dirty is probably one of the best. But for an elderly man who hired an escort in 2016, the aftermath was where the real embarrassment lay. Unfortunately, in the heat of passion, the man suffered a heart attack and died, much to his paid companion's horror. But to make matters worse, the combination of the escort's panic and the man's no longer circulated blood flow, the pair became, well, stuck. Unable to break free from the horrifically...
I thought this shit was a myth. I thought this shit was a myth. I didn't think it was like actual real shit. Damn, that's a horrible way to go.
morbid embrace, the woman had no choice but to seek medical assistance. After paramedics picked her up, she was wheeled past crowds of hospital onlookers under a blanket. Still very much attached to the man she'd given a very happy ending to. I guess the whole parting bit of "till death do us part" only applies to married couples. Which of these dum-dum mice has raised your eye?
Damn. That last one though. I thought that was a myth. I didn't think it was real. But other than that, I just wanted to check it out real quick, you know. I always wanted to transition to a little bit more fun videos, so here you are. Other than that, I'll see you guys later. Peace.